first I would like to make a motion to rescind the vote that was taken to not release the CSV file. If I get a second, I will speak to it.
Second.
As you know, I asked for the CSV file. Putting that aside, I don't think we have the authority to limit that. After having some discussion with the superintendent, he, and please correct me if I misquote you, Phil, said that the information in that file is public information. And I don't understand how the school board has the authority to restrict itself from information that is deemed public. So I would like to rescind that vote based on that fact.
Any other discussion? I was going to ask for some clarification if I could on that CSV. It's my understanding, you can correct me, I've been reading a lot of information on this lately, so is it the format that's the issue or the information? The information is public.
The format is determined by the district.
So we presented the information, the public information, in a format determined by the district. So, okay.
So I feel that we're now left with information that's deemed public in a different format for the public. And the school board is voting to restrict itself from that format of the information. I don't understand how we do that. If all the information in that format can be extracted, theoretically you could put it right back into that format someplace else. I mean, I just don't understand how we are saying that we are going to restrict that information from the school board when the public is going to get it in a different format. It's the same information.
But the vote restricted the format, correct?
Well, we could look at the record.
It was the CSV, and it came in a PDF.
Generally, we will release things in PDF, yes.
The other issue I have about that vote is that we voted to restrict that information from the budget committee, which I don't know how we have that authority. And I don't know that the budget committee's asked for that information, but I don't know where we have the authority to say that we will not release something to the budget committee. I mean, they haven't asked for it, but I could see there being reasonable reasons why they might want to see it. Even if there's not what we consider reasonable, I don't see how we have the authority.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I'm confused that it's my understanding they can see it. In this PDF format, correct?
Well, just to be clear, there's two issues here. The public getting the information through right to know. And that's what I'm basing Dr. Littlefield's statement that the information in the file is public. Because some of it, if not all of it, has been released at this point. My concern is that we took a vote to restrict the school board and the budget committee from seeing the CSV file. And I don't understand, it is, you know, one of the reasons for me to look at the CSV file is it is easier to manipulate and look at it in the way that you want to look at it. And that's not, I'm not saying manipulate in a bad way. I'm saying you can look at fields that you wanted to look at. I don't understand how, as a school board, we have the authority to restrict ourselves from that information. I just, that we're gonna give the public in a different format. Should I ask for the PDF, take the PDF and put it into a CSV file? Mm,
Well, I thought the motion said to release the CSV file to the board members. So, if it's not the information, we're talking about just the format. I thought I read from an email that it can be changed. If we receive it in a different format, then we can change it, right, to the CSV file for the information. I don't know how hard that is or easy. I don't know, but I don't,
The
so
person
we
who
can't really
receives-
restrict. If we can get it in the other form and then change it, I don't see how, we can't really say we restrict it from going to the school board members, because
Well, we should probably look at the motion.
It's my understanding that the person that, one of the people that requested it received it in a PDF and has put it in a CSV on their own. It's just not being released from us in a CDF because of, that it can be manipulated, and the motion says that during the trial period that we don't think that it should be released in a CSV file, that it should be released as a PDF.
Yeah,
But this says specifically for board members and budget committee members. And that's what I don't, that's the first thing that I have the problem with. If we're saying that we're not going to release this in a CBS format, period, that's one thing. But, I mean, I understand why board member was included, because I was the one asking for it. I don't understand why the budget committee was included, and I don't see why I was myself, because I'm a school board member. If I want to look at the data upside down, why shouldn't I have the right to do that? I mean, I'm not looking at, well, from my understanding, I am not even looking at student-specific information in this file. You cannot, correct me if I'm wrong, determine any student's identity or performance or anything from this file. So I just don't understand how we have the authority to do that.
I'm gonna give a real dumbed down version of how I understand this. I always look at that, the PDF as a safe way of transmitting data. Now, the fact that there's expertise out there that can take it and believe me, I know, I'm gonna use the same term, but not necessarily in the same context as you, manipulate that data and change it. At least we're on record, if you will, and documented as providing the data in a safe and I think relatively, at least the intention is to be in a format that can't be manipulated, is what I'm trying to say. But if we present it in a way that it's easily manipulated, maneuvered, configured, then we may be opening ourselves up to further scrutiny.
Mike, can you say one quickly? But then shouldn't the motion have said we're not going to release the information, the public information, in a CSV format? Instead of saying not gonna give that to specific people. I mean, I think maybe that's where the problem's coming from. I mean,
Well, I think, again, we're talking about two things. Under the Right to Know Act, a person cannot file a right to know and say, I want that information in Word, or I want that information in Word or whatever. They have to ask for the information, and you provide it in the most convenient format that you keep it in. That's my understanding. So that's one issue. But that's not my issue, because I didn't make a request under the Right to Know Act. I asked, as a school board member, to see the CSV file. And frankly, the fact that during the discussion of the motion, the words twisted were used offended me. Because I've sworn an oath to sit on the school board, and it's my understanding that I could see student relevant information and be trusted with that. So that's my issue. It's not the right to know issue. I understand that you cannot have the public manipulating you, making you stand on your head and giving things all different ways. I totally agree with that. And the PDF, I understand, is a export format of that machine. The reason I would like this vote rescinded is because I don't think the school board has the authority to restrict me and a budget committee or budget committee members from specific formats of information that are public. And I would like to pursue this and get a legal opinion on it, because I think it would be for the good of the board to know whether or not we can do things like this. Because I think in principle we can.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to rescind our vote, which did not allow the CSV file. I'm on my lead here.
Well, I do have the motion here if you I can read it exactly if you need to. Move that the CSV file not be distributed to board members or budget committee or other committee members during the trial period. That was the motion. And that motion passed. And that's what I'm asking to rescind that vote.
Okay, we have a motion to, I should say, all in favor of approving the motion to rescind the motion as read, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed?
Oh,
Nay.
So I would like to make,
I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead.
I've got that 2-3.
So I'd like to make a request that we get a legal opinion on this, because personally I think we're out of our authority.
Get a legal opinion on that.
Whether that motion was legal or not.
No, I didn't use the word legal. Whether we have the authority to
You
take
want a
that
legal
vote.
opinion on whether it's.
We have the authority. I don't,
The authority.
I'm not deeming it illegal.
But David's point is, I believe, do you have the authority to do what? It's the authority to restrict it from a designated group of people or individuals as opposed to in general. I can save you $150. Or you can get the legal opinion.
No, say
Well,
what?
if you have an opinion,
And I guarantee that our attorney will agree with me, or I'll pay $150. I believe you cannot choose who gets information and who does not. So I believe you cannot say, this information we won't give to this person or this person. Because there's an inference there that you may give it to another person. That's a constitutional issue, it's the 11th Amendment, equal protection. That doesn't mean that you cannot say, we will not release the CBS file to anyone. The information that's in there, we will, but the format will be directed by the district. So, I mean, that may be a popular opinion or an unpopular opinion, but I know that's what our attorney is going to say. That you can't designate a board member of the budget committee. Although you can say, nobody's getting the CSV file, which I would want that support for. Because our student management system is CPS and CSV, and it's just bad practice. The information, absolutely, the public has a right to, not the format. That's the whole issue here, but I don't think you can target one group.